Good morning. How's your day? Good morning. Happy birthday. What? Nothing.
In this video, I'm gonna give you what I think are the most important tips for building the body and the brain and your life. I'm here in my backyard. This is the house that I semi-grew up in. And speaking of violin, I just started to practice again. You know, I didn't really practice that much. I was practicing like once every week or two. I fucking hated practicing so much before that I would get up at 5 a.m. in the morning before school starts and practice for an hour and a half because violin is so hard. It is so difficult. You know, so much grinding I have to do that I couldn't concentrate in class unless I get it over with. So see, I'm the type of person that gets the sour over with before the sweets. And apparently that worked out to my advantage because I was reading this study about how your brain is the most effective and the most efficient and the sharpest just a couple of hours after you wake up. So that you should always perform the most difficult task and the most important task in your life in accordance to your goals first thing in the morning. You know, yesterday I'll stay up until like 4 a.m. just looking at VHS tapes, analogs, because I found this converter where you can convert that to digital file, and I was looking through hours and hours of tapes starting from a 2000.
Why have you decided to change your ways? Frank, why won't you act like an idiot anymore?
I don't want to stop.
Why?
I used to have a crush on this girl. I used to watch this clip in my basement and then just pause and then like fab. And she agreed to go to prom with me, but she flaked out on me. So, you know, I never had a girlfriend, never went to prom. And at the same time, I had like crush on 3 other girls in that basketball class, which is why I always sneak in during my lunch break, you know, to try to impress them with my basketball skills.
Want this? Sushi.
Frank, stop! Frank, there's girls changing in there.
Yeah, I think I should look them up on Instagram or something and slide them a DM. I bet I can fuck at least one of them now.
If I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away. I believe I can soar. I see me running through that open door. I believe I can fly.
Looks like I predicted vlogs and prank videos 10 years before YouTube. Today, I'm 155 pounds. Today, I touched the rim right here, like almost up at wrist. And then I'm gonna try to keep my weight down. This is the living room where I practice every morning. The brain is an organ and it takes up glucose and it resources, and you want to be able to sort of savor your energy for the most important task first before you run out of resources. And you can apply this strategy to your training too. Let's say if at this mesocycle my goal is to bring out my squat, then I should always squat first. If you're doing a push workout but your shoulder is lacking behind your chest, you should always start your workout with military press. if you're doing compound movements, and then go to chest. See, Mozart said the only way music is possible is because of the silences in between the notes, or the space between the notes. See, before, when I was listening or playing music, I could only perceive sort of the notes, but I couldn't have a taste of the silence or the space in between the notes. So if you could only perceive the form and not the formlessness that gives rise to it, so you only really listening to the yin part of the music, but not the yin part of the music. And another way to look at it is that before I could only perceive the temporal aspect of music, the way the music unfolds in time, but I couldn't perceive the spatial part of it, which also is the other half of the equation, because reality is made up of the space-time fabric. Now, when I listen to music, I don't just hear it unfolding in time anymore. I can actually see the three-dimensional sculpture element of the entire piece. So when you hear a piece of music, it almost feels like you're walking around a three-dimensional form, a sculpture. What is music but sculpting time, right? So the reason why I started playing violin is because my mom forced me to when I was 5, and she wanted me to go to music conservatories, but I didn't care throughout high school and college. I just want to play ball. So there's this back and forth bargain between practicing for 2 hours and 1 hour. So eventually my mom got me a pair of these shoes. It's called Space Jam. This is what Michael Jordan wore in the 1995, I forgot, movie Space Jam. Those are the new retros that just came out. Because of the shoes, I practiced for an hour and a half. When I wear them, they're aesthetics for sure, but when I wear them, it's all about the consciousness that's generated from the shoes.
It's good.
It tastes like soda, huh? It tastes a lot like soda.
Better than that.
You should always perform that most important task before you check your phone. First thing in the morning, you look at that stuff, you get stuck into the black hole, right? Because your mind is a connecting machine. It's gonna keep making connections, and you go deeper and deeper. Even after you put down your phone, your brain is already hijacked by other people's business, by stuff and information that has nothing to do or even detrimental to your game. Just think of it as like a mini notepad, because when you look at your phone, basically it's like all the information is stimulated. It's like stroking a little neurons, and you're like ejaculating out dopamine. Your brain is already came. We're so desensitized. We don't realize how like just the tiniest stimuli can have a huge effect when it trickles down your brain. See, if you do the most important task first, you can come back to it later. Your goal is cancer, you wake up and smoke a cigarette first. But if your goal is the opposite, which is immortality or self-actualization or quote-unquote enlightenment, then yeah, you should meditate or do self-inquiry first thing in the morning. And you do that for an hour before you even get out of the bed, and then you go on with your day. Maybe you fell off track, maybe you after work, after school, you went out with your friends, you drank, you fucked some hoes, and then you wake up in the middle of the night, be like 12 a.m., 1 a.m., you're like, holy shit, I gotta go home. So you go home, and then before you go back to sleep, you meditate for another half an hour. And now I'm gonna show you a technique that I use when I practice the violin. It's called Confuse the Neuron Space. So I'm working on this piece called the Bach Sonata Presto. So it's 16th notes throughout. That means every note is fast and even, and it should be played smoothly, fluidly, and clean. And it's like 2 pages. But if you're just starting out this piece, your fingers might be jumbled up, you might play unevenly. So what do you do at that point? You break the piece down into different configurations of rhythms and different combinations of timing, and then put it back together at the end. And then you go on to the next pattern, which is this. Okay? And then, after you play through all 4 different configurations, 5 times in a row without messing up, you go back to your original rhythm.